Greetings, welcome back. Today we are going to test out two understable discs in the Westside lineup, the Swan 2 and the Swan 1 Reborn. The Swan 2 I tested it previously against the Deputy and the Pure in another video, but I wanted to see the difference between these two. The Swan 2 comes in at a speed 3, glide 3, turn -1 with a fade of 0. And I have a misprint here I got off dynamicdisc.com. I wanted to get the Swan 1 to kind of complete my Westside lineup, so I had all of their discs. And the Swan 1, I believe, Reborn, came back after some time of not being produced. It has a turn of -2.5, so super understable, right up my alley. Speed 3, glide 3, and a turn of, or fade of 0. The turn is -2.5. So I got this in the Origio plastic. And let's check them out. Let's see what the difference is. All right, here we go, folks, and thanks for watching. Like and share, subscribe if you can. We have our understable Westside lineup here, the Swan 1 on the left and the Swan 2 on the right. Now you'll see that the rim of the Swan 1 is kind of flat, and you have like a concave rim on the Swan 2, almost kind of like that harp type rim. Obviously both these are very understable. My first thoughts of the Swan 1 were someone took a putter and like chopped it in half. It feels very shallow. So as always, we're going to start with just some nice little hyzer rips at a basket, probably about 190 feet away. Again, just warming up, putting that release on the hyzer, and you can see these discs want to try to get straight. Little beginner tip, learn how to throw something understable with lots of hyzer. Learn how to get that angle so that you can flip them up to flat. So you can see with these first couple throws, the Swan 1, which is the -2.5, they both ended up on the right of the basket, and the Swan 2, which is a -1 turn, ended up there on the left. Here we're going to throw a short little anhyzer shot into a headwind. And we are going Swan 1 first on each of our throws. And you can see there that one got into the headwind and got over very fast and got down to the ground. Put a little bit more air under this one and ended up further right of the pin, but pin deep. Swan 2 here. Felt like it would be the right choice to throw. None of these discs are going to be wind fighters, but definitely handled the wind better. It ended up just to the right of the pin. There you see the Swan 1 that was short, and you got both Swan 2s together at about 11 feet, and then the Swan 1 way to the right. Here we're on hole 2 here at Beaver Branch. It's about 255 feet. Extreme hyzer release, just seeing how these discs will straighten out off an extreme hyzer at that distance. So there was a slight wind, except for this shot where there was no wind, and that disc carried off to the left a little bit more. Again, those were Swan 1s first, Swan 2 second. And you can see this one straighten out off that hyzer release as you would expect a -1 disc to do. And the same result with this one. Now, I was surprised with the Swan 1 being a -2.5 that it wasn't extremely flippy. I would almost put it in that -2 range. But it's definitely an understable disc. Here we're going to throw some anhyzers with a slight tailwind to try to get as much as we can out of the disc. And again, Swan 1 going first, just trying to get it up and over. The usefulness of an understable disc can be for straight shots when you don't want to throw it real hard, or you can throw anhyzer or left to right shots with them. So it's always interesting to try out different discs. And right now on this particular review, we're looking at understable. Now we're going to see if we can get the true flight numbers to come out on an 80% power throw with a hyzer release. So we got Swan 1 here, and you can see that, you know, negative 2.5. If you watch this next shot, it is a hyzer release, and you can see it just getting all the way over and then minimal fade. So definitely a good disc for straight shots through the woods. Swan 2 here, pretty much the same thing. These are different plastics. You do see a little bit more fade back with the Swan 1 here than you did with the Swan 2. You see a little bit more fade back than with the Swan 1. But in general, off that hyzer release, you get a nice straight shot. Here we are with the Deputy, which is something that I've bagged, where you can get it straight very easily, and it's almost the same line. Hyzer release, it snaps up to straight, gets over a little bit, but definitely a useful disc in the lineup. So it's all how it feels in the hand, whether you prefer the Swan 1 or the Swan 2 or the Deputy, or if you're into the Pure or the Keystone. There's a never-ending lineup of understable choices with different grips in the Trilogy lineup. That's all for this review comparison. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.